Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions. Today I've got 25 books that we're going to go over that I'm getting ready to send to CGC. Now this order was made a few days ago before CGC raised their prices. I got the books ready. It's a non-pre-screen. It is a modern order. So I got some good books here, so let's get into it. Alright, first book I've got that's going in is a copy I picked up of Wolverine Number Two. This is from the miniseries, Frank Miller, Chris Claremont. I picked this up at a recent comic book show. It's in really nice shape. I got a pretty good price deal on it when I was at the show. Took a quick look at it, took a look at the back. I'm getting better about that. When you go to a show and you're putting some money into books, don't be afraid to ask them to take out the comic from the bag. Let them take it out. I would never take it out without asking, and usually I will ask them to take it out because I don't want to be responsible for any damage that might happen. But took out the book. This book looked really clean. I figured it was going to be a great candidate for pressing. I've got high hopes for this. At the very least, I'm hoping for a 9.6 on this, but I'm shooting for a 9.8. One of my goals is to get 9.8s on all 4 of these issues, and I've got 2 out of the 4, and I'm working on this one. They get a little pricey, but I'm probably going to end up going with trying to find raws that I can clean and press myself and bump the grade. So that's the first book that's going in this order. Alright, the next book, or should I say books that are going to go in, is something you've seen in a lot of my last videos. All of my videos going back all the way to October, Baltimore Comic-Con. What book was I looking for more than anything? And it was Fantastic Four 244. The first appearance of Frankie Ray as Nova, Galactus's Herald. And John Byrne artwork and story. Wonderful story. I'm not going to go into too much about that, but in this order right here that I'm sending out, I'm literally sending out, I've got 6 copies here. Now I think every one of them has a little bit of a defect, and I'm thinking I'm going to be pretty good on all of these. These are very nice copies, but like I said, I didn't do a pre-screen, so I didn't protect myself. If they drop below a 9.2, then I'm probably going to start looking at breaking even on some of the purchases here. But anything above 9.2, 9.4, I'm going to be really good. There's going to be a lot of value in these books. This is a pretty hot book. Although I don't hear it talked about a lot, but when it does get talked about, it is a hot book. So I'm excited to get these in. I've been spending, as I said, a lot of time over the last few months collecting these books, 244 specifically, and I'm trying to shoot for a great grade on this. I'm really excited about getting that book in. And to go along with that, I've got 2 copies of 243, and this is the previous issue. You got some of the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, all fighting Galactus here. So it's a pretty neat issue. I like this storyline. The issue before this, I think you had, I can't remember who was the former Herald of Galactus. I remember he came in. I can't remember his name right now, but Galactus is here. He actually gets defeated in this issue. It's pretty neat, pretty significant, and the story has repercussions for later. So it's just a great story. This is a great match. This is not a too valuable of a comic, but if you can get a good grade on this, it's worth a little bit of money. So excited to get that one in there too, to match up with the 244. Alright, the last Fantastic Four I've got is issue 272, and am I right, is this the first appearance of Nathaniel Richards, Kang, or a variant of Kang in the future? Sorry about the light there. But I found this at a local comic shop, one of mine, that had a Thanksgiving sale. They do a sale every year about, I guess, Thanksgiving and Easter. They do 30% off all of their premium books, and it's a pretty good deal. I found a lot of great books. This is one of them. It cleaned up really nicely. I don't know if it's going to be, it's not exactly perfect, but it is really nice. So I'm excited about getting this one into CGC as well. Alright, another favorite of mine that I've been picking up is Avengers 186. I've got 2 copies of that. One I picked up from, actually both of these, I'm looking on the notes I've got on the back of these. Both of them I picked up over eBay over the last few months. Both of them were listed, I'm thinking, near mint, very fine prices. I did try to do my due diligence, look over the photos as best I can. This dark spine over here, you can see the spine ticks really well, and when I don't see anything like that, I will look at how much the book is going for, and if I think it's affordable, fits in that price range, that it's going to be good spec value. I'm pretty confident in my pressing and cleaning abilities to be able to take out most spine ticks as long as they're not color breaking and clean up these issues and everything. And these 2 present really nice. I have high hopes for these. Alright, here's, well, it's mislabeled on the back, but it is I know where I got this. This was a Whatnot sale purchase I made. Took a little bit of gamble in this because I put a little bit of money into it. Not a lot. I mean, actually, it was below fair market value, but you're sort of taking a chance on Whatnot when you can't really see the grade. They may talk about it and they may try to show you the book and everything, but you can't inspect it. You gotta kind of take their word for it, and took a chance on this. This actually was very nice. And this right here is issue 181. This is George Perez artwork on the cover, John Byrne on the inside. The government dictates who the new Avengers are going to be. That's real interesting. Hawkeye was not very happy. Let's put it that way. What else? And I think this was the first appearance of Scott Lang, not as Ant-Man, but as Scott Lang in this issue as well. Miss Marvel was in this, Carol Danvers. Just, I love this issue. Great story. The writing on these issues were great. I love that. Alright, and then, but this was back at the Baltimore Comic Con this year. I picked up, it's Avengers 227, the first appearance of Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel in the Avengers. And this has been a book that's been speculated on a lot. After everybody gets the Spider-Man annual, this is her next appearance, and the first in the Avengers, and she goes on to have a pretty significant role over the next, well, this is issue 227, so probably the next 60 to 70 issues she ends up being a leader of the Avengers. It's pretty significant. So this was a key issue. Glad to pick it up. I didn't pay it, I don't have the price listed on the back, but I didn't pay a lot for it, but this is in really nice shape. It's not perfect, but it is really nice. Alright, now at that comic shop I mentioned before, the Thanksgiving sale, they had multiple copies of Hulk number 1. This is the Red Hulk, and I guess technically the first appearance really is issue 2, which is really odd, although he's on the cover here, so this is still a pretty valuable book. I picked these up for 30% off of what they were asking. That really got these into a very desirable point where if you can get 9/8 on any of these, you're going to really do well on this. So all of these did good. They all had minor creases on the spine, very minor, but nice clean press on every one of these. I have really high hopes on all 3 of these. Out of all the books in this submission, these are probably the most modern. They're the ones that are going to get the best chance to get that 9.8. Alright, and then I've got a couple copies, and I picked one of these up from the Baltimore Comic Con and one from that same comic shop I keep talking about. This is X-Men Adventures number 1, and this is a really hot book right now, especially with the Disney Plus introducing, they're going to introduce the X-Men 97 as a continuation of the X-Men Adventures TV show, and pretty excited. People, once I had already had this book, I've already got it graded. I got a 9.8 on one of my 2 that I sent out. I've already sold it, actually. I had a second one that got, I think it was a 9.6, 9.4, but it ended up with a purple label. It had, somebody had done some color touch on there. And I'm still haven't gone back and figured out where it is, but it was my one and only so far, and hopefully the only purple label that I've gotten so far. But that was a big disappointment. So, but it also made me keep these in my mind when I was out looking at the Comic Cons and the shows and everything. And as I said, I picked this one right here was from Baltimore Comic Con. This was from that card shop or comic shop, and both of them present very, very good, very minor defects to the point where I don't know if it'll meet a 9.8, but high hopes for both of those there. Alright, so now here is a book. I ended up finding this at one of the other LCSs a couple weeks ago. This is Miracle Man number 1. And I picked this up, I want to say, probably a week after Timeless came out and Marvel revealed that, I guess they showed off the Miracle Man logo. Everybody realized, oh my goodness, Miracle Man is going to be could be part of the MCU. And this book exploded. And I ended up picking this book up, and I think I ended up picking up, they had the first 9 issues of the Eclipse series, including this one, of course. And I picked up every one of those. It's too bad they didn't have, I guess issue 16 is really valuable as well. Almost as valuable as this one, or maybe more so, I don't know. But I was real happy to get this. I spent a whole $5 on this. This thing was really in great shape. Minor defects, clean and press. Did a little work on the spine with the tack iron. Looks wonderful. So that I'm excited about. Alright, so this right here, I want to say I picked this up at Baltimore Comic Con. This is Watchmen number 1. And my own copies of this, I've had multiples of these. These were my favorite books back in college. The Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, Crisis on Infinite Earths. And Watchmen, I had issue 1, I had immediately went out and bought multiple copies of every issue that came out. And I think I had at least 3 or 4. And I've got one still here at the house that definitely isn't going to go anywhere. It's definitely not going to CGC. That back cover got scuffed a little bit in all the years that I've had these books, even though they were bagged and boarded, and it got a little scuffed. And I'm not going to send it in to CGC, but I did months ago send in one or 2 of the other copies, and what I felt were really nice copies. They just needed a little work, and this was before I started cleaning and pressing myself. So what I did was I sent those in. They're going to work on them. They're still at CGC. They'll be there probably for another year. Who knows? But I also know I was keeping my eye out on this. So when I found a good copy of this, and I did have them take it out and take a look at the back, and it looked really nice. Maybe a minor scuff. So outside shot on goal if it's a 9.8, but it's probably going to be closer to a 9.6. Still a good book to have at that grade. Alright, this book, I want to say I've had 2 copies of this. I think one's actually at CGC right now, but this is the second one I picked up. This is Marvel Age, the in-house advertisement for all the Marvel books that was coming up. This right here was probably the most valuable book in that whole run. It is the cover, of course. You've got Stan Lee right here and everything. They have an article inside and an interview and everything like that, but very popular issue. I see a lot of these on Heritage that people have gotten signed by Stan back in the day and have gotten graded, and that's probably a wonderful collectible. I'm not going to. Stan's passed away. He's left us, so I'm not going to get this signed. But this is in really nice shape. This is probably not very valuable, but I still some value at a 9.2, 9.4. But if I can get a better grade, and I think this should hit a 9.6, outside shot at a 9.8. We'll see how it goes, but definitely some value in that book. Alright, now here's a recent book I just picked up from Whatnot. Seller this is X-Men 221. This is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister. I had already sold my copy when I finally started selling a lot of my books, and I sold that as part of a lot to somebody, so I didn't have 221 anymore. But a recent Whatnot video seller, I think he was an antiques dealer. He wasn't a comic book seller, but he dealt with comics in the past. But they had I purchased a collection of X-Men books that I talked about in the video when I showed off this book to begin with, where they had about a run of 100 or so books, every issue from, I want to say it was issues 293, 294, all the way up to issue 300. And a lot of the books, they went through every book, and they went consecutively. So it was an interesting video to watch them go through every book. And I did pick up a few. This one, I took a shot that I was going to get a good grade just from their description. I don't think it's perfect, but it is in really nice shape. And hopefully we'll get a good grade on this. This will be a good book. I'll end up probably putting this on sale on eBay at some point once I get it back. Hopefully it'll grade high enough, but happy to have that back in the collection for the time being. And then the last book I picked up, again at the Thanksgiving sale at the 1LCS, was X-Men 164. I try to pick up this book whenever I can. Sorry about the light there. This is Carol Danvers. She had joined the X-Men. This is after she had lost her Miss Marvel powers. She had joined the X-Men in some adventures in space, and she becomes binary in this, or Warbird, I think is eventually what she ends up calling herself. But this was the first appearance of that character for her, and if you can get a good grade on this, this is a somewhat valuable book. It's not super expensive, but like all these books right here, I'm shooting for, if I can get good grades on all of these, there's definitely a lot of value in reselling these. And if not, I mean, I'm still going to have great books in my collection. So this book right here, I think I've got a couple of these now I picked up at different places, and who knows, you may see this in another video. I may have another one sitting in there ready to go. I don't know, yo. So this one's going to be pretty nice. All these books actually came out pretty good. Clean and press. The process I go through on all of these is I review them. They usually, depending on what I've got into press, sometimes I'll start with the tack iron and work on the spines and see how they come out. I might introduce moisture to that process at that point, and then I'll put them in for a press. And I usually do a 2-hour quick press at 165. That's and I do. Right now, I'm doing. If I'm introducing moisture, I do it for 5. I put them in there for 5 minutes at. Yeah, that's right. 5 minutes at 165, and I pull it out. Actually, I'm sorry. I turn it off. I leave it in there for 2 hours, and I've gotten really good results on that. Some of them, if I introduce a little too much moisture, probably could stand to stay in that press a little bit longer, but I do keep on the side a couple of granite slabs that I actually use as a cold press as well. I can pull it out of the press and use that. And I use that a lot when I'm getting ready to use the press again, of course. So this one came out, looks really nice. Every one of these books look really nice. I'm hopeful for all of these. As I said, I didn't do a pre-screen, but if I had, I probably would have set it at a 9.2, just because there's the lowest point where the value is really worth getting these graded. If it drops below that, then you start breaking even, and if you go even further below that, you're just spending money. But I decided on this. I don't think I need a pre-screen. I think all of these books are going to come out really good. I think I'm going to be happy with this when they eventually come back in. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. That is all the books that are going to go out in this order. I've got several more orders that are actually ready to go. I'll probably be shooting these videos over the next couple of days, but I'll space them out so y'all can watch them at different times. But this was the first one. I've got to get this into CGC, all of these in to CGC before, I guess they have to be there before the 18th of February, because that's when the prices have already gone up, but all of these orders that I submitted were submitted on January 17th, and that was the day before the prices increased. And I had these ready, made the orders, got them out, and I'm kind of staggering my orders a little bit just so I don't have these hit all at the same time a little bit. And I don't have a lot of time to do that, of course. So after I do the video tonight, this one's going to go out. I'll get it packed up, and we'll get this to FedEx tomorrow and down to CGC. So guys, we'll see what we get back when they come back in the months later when it comes back. So anyway, that is it. guys, you have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you. And if you have not a subscriber, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. I put out content. I try to put out at least 1, maybe 2 videos every week. We do a lot of unboxings. We do a lot of CGC order videos, and when CGC we get those orders back in, we do those as well. So I hope you enjoy this content. Leave a comment. Let me know, what do you think of the books that I'm sending out? I think these are great books. We'll see how we do. So guys, you have a great day, and I will talk to you later.